Welcome back. President Biden commenting on his son Hunter's conviction on federal gun charges for the first time yesterday. Watch.
I'm extremely proud of my son Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know. And I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Hunter Biden faces up to 25 years in prison. He is not expected to receive the maximum penalty, not expected to receive jail time. Joining me now is former FBI Assistant Director, former FBI agent and attorney, Chris Swecker. Chris, confirm that for me. Do you expect that Hunter Biden will not receive any jail time? Is that the way you see it?
Yeah, I think it's unlikely that he'll get jail time on these particular charges. Now, the tax charges might be something very different. But I think he'll get probation with all kinds of conditions, and I think he will. I think this will pass. This too will pass, as they say.
Well, look, President Trump and many people have said that they believe this trial is a distraction, and it's just a distraction to the bigger other issues that the House Oversight Committee and Judiciary and House Ways and Means have been investigating. And that, of course, is what James Comer has said is money laundering and bribery and influence peddling. Do you believe that to be true?
100%. I think it was the intention of DOJ under Merrick Garland to distract. Well, first to see if we could get statute of limitations to run. They pulled back on the reins on the FBI investigation. They tried to cut this incredible, blanket immunity plea deal and got caught red-handed. Right. The whistleblowers popped up. And, $17 million moving through shell corporations, going to people that have no services to render on behalf of foreign governments and bad actors across the globe. That is what they're trying to distract us from. Even the tax charges, which are felonies, I think are the equivalent of taking Chapo Guzman and getting him for misdemeanor possession.
Wow, that is just incredible. The way our important, law agencies are being used, if that's true. I mean, this is stunning.
No
the House Judiciary Committee held a hearing yesterday, meanwhile, and I want to get your take on this. They're examining Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg's, quote, political prosecution of former President Trump. Here's Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan. Watch.
Never forget, in November of 2022, President Trump announced he was a candidate for president of the United States. And just a few weeks later, Alvin Bragg hires former senior Biden Justice Department official Matthew Colangelo to come up and run the prosecution. Someone who had a history of taking on President Trump and his family's businesses and had also worked for the New York State Attorney General. Alvin Bragg, the partisan DA that campaigned on going after President Trump, whose newly hired lead prosecutor for the case also had a history of taking on President Trump, had their case now in front of a partisan judge.
Now, DA Alvin Bragg was not at that hearing, Chris, but both he and prosecutor Matthew Colangelo will appear before the committee on July 12th. They're discussing Trump's New York trial just one day after his sentencing. Your reaction?
Yeah, that statement just about sums it up. I mean, look, you got a 8-year-old bookkeeping charge times 34 that's never been brought in the history of jurisprudence. You got a partisan prosecutor, partisan judge, partisan jury in a favorable venue. I mean, who in their right mind, what reasonable person would not call this a political persecution? I mean, and prosecution. There's just no question about it. And look at, if they want to, I think it is time to take the gloves off with Congress. Let's stop those judicial nominees. We don't need those judges on the bench anyway. The wheels of justice will keep on cranking, and let's get the right constitutionally minded judges in those seats because they're just too important, too influential.
So is this the way to respond the way Republicans are? Ohio Senator J.D. Vance and 5 other Republican senators have announced plans to put a blockade, a hold on Biden's judicial nominees over this, what they're calling lawfare against Trump. Then you've got another group of nearly 30 senators. They sent a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland condemning Trump's New York trial. They said this: we condemn this show trial, not just because it marks the attempt to imprison a leader of the loyal opposition, but because it threatens the existence of due process of law. Chris, these senators say that We are going to put a blockade against all of the judicial nominees, a nominee for Deputy Undersecretary of the Treasury, a general counsel nominee for the Office of Director of National Intelligence. And, you know, they say we're not going to do anything until after the election. We're not going to consider any of these Biden nominees. Is that the only thing they can do right now? Is that the right response to what they're calling lawfare?
Yeah, I think it's the most appropriate thing to do if you want to make your point. I mean, Liz, people don't realize how influential, how important these district court and circuit court judges are, these federal judges. They make decisions every day that affect our lives directly. And the appointees from Biden have been very, very much on the progressive side. And they don't believe in the Constitution. They don't believe in following the Constitution and the letter of the law. They just make law. They're not legislators, but they make law. So I think it's the best way to make the point. We don't need those judicial nominees on the bench. We really don't. We need conservative judges that follow the Constitution and follow the law and are not trying to make law.
What is your take on what we're hearing out of the FBI right now, Chris? The fact that you've got Andrew McCabe, who was the leader of the whole Russia collusion nonsense. He was pursuing these charges and pursuing this idea that Trump colluded with Russia and spying on a sitting president. Now he's over there on CNN the other day saying, "Oh, everybody in the FBI is afraid Trump's going to throw us in jail." And Jim Comey said the same thing. Oh, yeah, you know, he didn't take on the FBI the last time. He didn't take us down. He's going to do it this time. They know what they did, you know, by spying on Trump and coming up with this crazy story Hillary Clinton did about him colluding. And now they're making believe that it's Trump who would, you know, use it against them, despite the fact that they're the ones who did it to Trump.
Yeah, they've thrown everything but the kitchen sink at President Trump. And, you know, that I don't think he'll do anything to them in retaliation. Right. What we've seen are the progressives, so-called progressives, are the ones that use lawfare and the judicial system and the criminal justice system against their opponents. I haven't seen any conservatives doing that. And, you know, so, yeah, I think they know what they did. And I think that's sort of their conscience sort of playing out in a public, very public way. That there was an unpredicated investigation from the very beginning based on this political dossier, opposition research dossier popped into a FISA. Unbelievable. That's when all this started, was under McCabe and Comey. That's when the FBI became politicized, and they really haven't righted the ship completely yet.
They haven't righted the ship because there's been no accountability, and they keep doing it over and over again. They did it again with the Hunter Biden laptop, right? Yes. Saying, oh, yeah, Russian disinformation. Yeah. Egg on your face, since now you're using the same laptop as evidence in the gun trial. Yeah, those 50 so-called intelligence officials really showed their political stripes when they did that. I mean, in the intelligence field, you're not supposed to get involved in politics, and they were up to their elbows and wrong and lying. Right. So, and is it the same? Is it the same infraction? In other words, what they did, the 51 intelligence officials, by signing that letter, is basically they hid information. Many of them knew it was not Russian disinformation. They signed their name anyway, right? Anthony Blinken led the effort. He knew it wasn't Russian disinformation. He did the letter anyway. No accountability. And yet, years later, Trump gets convicted for what they claim is him hiding information before an election. So now he's got to get sentenced for hiding information. That information is different information. It's a $130,000 payment to a porn star. They claim that's what he did. They claim that's the crime. How come it wasn't a crime for the 51 and Blinken? Yeah, I mean, they have a very, very complicit media and the social media companies. I mean, it's a powerful force behind them. And, it is. There aren't a whole lot of news outlets that are reporting the truth here. I mean, that's all now ancient history. You almost feel like you're in that book, Orwellian book, 1984, where the truth becomes, they can make the truth into whatever they want it to be and tell you right to your face, lie right to your face. I mean, this administration will lie right to your face. Well, there's a lot of that going on. And their minions as well. Chris, it's great to get your take. Yep. Final word, sir. Yeah, thanks. It's going to take a long time for us to restore our faith in the criminal justice system. It's going to take a while. What a shame. Chris Swecker, we so appreciate your time and your insights. Thank you, sir.